Okay, I'm so sorry. Apparently, they didn't send it to him. Basically the link. So I forwarded to him now, and hopefully he's gonna join us. And just be a second. Here you go.
Yeah, Mandhir's here. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's Mandhir Singh is our building official. Mandhir, are you?
I'm here.
Okay, very well.
Is this Michael?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I don't know why we have on your application Christopher.
That's my legal name.
That's your name? Okay.
Michael's my middle name, and I go by that. So.
Oh, I see. Got it. Excellent. Pleasure to have you. I'll let Ali start. I'm the building official here with the city, and
Yep. Yeah, I already said that I'm the plant check engineer supervisor here.
all right.
And so, Michael, actually, this is for a senior plant check engineer position that we have. And just give us a little bit of your background and what you're doing and what's the situation that you are right now for the work and the experience, education.
Okay, I'll start by the education. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in structural engineering from Clarkson University, and just recently I finished a certificate program from the University of British Columbia. Learning about the newer seismic systems, just get a refresher on them. So for the past 25 plus years, I probably 2/3 of it in the design realm, 1/3 of it in the review realm. I've been pretty much designing and reviewing all sorts of structures with all materials: steel, wood, concrete, masonry, light gauge steel. And I've designed and reviewed everything from bridges, schools, hospitals, tenant improvements, seismic upgrades, hotels, mixed use buildings, a lot of office spaces, transit stations. Pretty much where it runs the whole bandwidth, pretty much. So I've been the one that's been given any type of structure. I'm the one that gets to review it or design it. Usually, it's the ones that people have difficulty with because they trust my judgment. So for the past 12 years, I've been on my own, and my client passed away recently. So that's why I'm looking for another opportunity. This client, I did a lot of work with him doing seismic retrofits. And these were soft story retrofits where the bottom story's been upgraded, so it's a lot of systems. So all the lateral systems, steel brace frames, steel moment frames, plywood shear walls. Some have masonry walls and concrete walls, so I use those a lot if they work. A lot of wood, some of it's steel. So and they're some of them are challenging because you don't want to disrupt the tenants on the bottom floor. So that's what I've been doing. Most recently, I did some federal work with NASA, and that's a lot of equipment anchorage, a lot of seismic upgrades, a lot of gravity upgrades. For example, when they put a big unit on the roof, they have to be upgraded per code if it exceeds, I think it's 5 or 10% per code. So I've been pretty much been doing that. So, and do you need additional clarification or anything else?
Michael, just a quick one. I'm just looking at your application here. You said your employer was M. Bradbury. Is that the person you're referring to?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, that's obviously. Yeah, that's Michael. Okay. So you've been working for yourself, basically.
Yes.
You've been self-employed. Okay.
Yeah, I work with a lot of different contracts, so I go where the work is. And right now, I'm looking for something that's a little more stable.
I got you. Okay. I understand. Okay. And have you worked for any particular firms for a long period or like a certain period of time?
Middleburg and
Like
Louis.
employed by.
Yeah, I was employed by Middleburg and Louis for 5 years, and
Okay.
that firm doesn't exist anymore. They've been out of business for over a decade now.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, actually 15 years, actually.
In,
And that was a design firm, a lot of buildings in the San Francisco Bay Area, so it's a lot of seismically challenging buildings, all the materials. They primarily did a lot of steel and concrete buildings.
got it.
Some buildings were wood. They didn't get too much into it because that wasn't their market share. Now these days, everybody's getting into wood, it seems like, because it's the cheapest material here in California,
Right, right. Okay, excellent. Go ahead, Ali.
Michael, have you had any experience in plan checking actually and code in the life safety, the aspects of the code? I mean, I know that it's structural very well. You were involved. Have you had any experience in?
I've had a little bit of experience with the non-structural single-family homes, some TIs, small ones, things like that. Not the big projects, like like an airport size. No, not like that, and nothing with mechanical, electrical, plumbing in terms of this is the duct size you select, this is the conduit size you select. Not like that, but I can tell them whether it needs to be anchored or stuff like that, or if they're missing vents. Like for example, I reviewed an underground parking garage that had no, they forgot to put the ventilation fans in, which to me is really strange because of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if Ali mentioned it, Michael. Like in a city, basically we're sort of like combination plan reviewers. We don't have like a separate, like some larger cities would have a separate structural division, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. We kind of do everything. Now, if it's really big, then we sort of farm it out and send it to a consultant who has specific, mechanical folks, plumbing, electrical. So, but generally for smaller commercial TIs and obviously residential, it's like an all-in-one. We do the energy code, we green code, electrical, plumbing, mechanical. So I'm sure you don't quite have that sort of experience. I'm assuming, like not from a you're, I'm sure, familiar with it, but not from a review aspect.
I've done it for single family homes, and the last time I did it was probably 10 years ago. Obviously, that's is pretty much in very few TIs, but nothing with the big buildings because it's just too complicated for me. I prefer to have somebody with that experience review it. It's just, I feel I wouldn't be effective with it, where
I hear you.
Residential, no problem. It's
residential. You could probably
It's cut and dry. I've done a lot of residential, cut and dry. Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Alan.
So basically, I assume because I was actually ready to go through lots of life safety actually, or basically. Architectural aspects of code, like accessibility. Do you have any are you familiar with accessibility at all?
I would say a little bit. I know where it is in the code. There's 11A and 11B, and there's all these little rules basically to be sure it's accessible. But I haven't done as much as I would like. That's something I'm going to have to pick up on. Refresh.
But right now you mentioned 11B and 11A. Do you know that the difference 11A and 11?
One is public buildings and one is private buildings, I believe. I'd have to look that up. I know it's at the beginning and it tells you which is which.
Right.
Yeah. 11B is public, yes, and 11A is just generally housing, basically accessibility. What about for egress or exiting and all these things? Have you come across working and exiting situation at all?
I have a few times, but not recently. So I want to get that straight. That's something I've done in the past. Probably 10 years I did it, but not recently. Right now, the practice is going on with the structural aspects of the building design because that's where a lot of people are having problems. They're not getting permits. So there's just, for me, it's easier to get into that because it's such a hard one for a lot of people to get. And a lot of the engineers don't get it. I've seen, So I get contacted to clean up their messes, basically,
But you're ICC certified with plan exam.
Yeah, I have the California one and I have the national one.
Okay.
And I've kept up to date on that because, as I like to say, you never know these days, with careers.
Right. Yeah.
We're seeing that now with AI where it's pushing out a lot of engineers, which a lot of them probably didn't think that they would be pushed out.
Yeah.
And I'm on the thing with AI is it's a resource. It doesn't do the work for you because I've read all these stories where attorneys have gotten in trouble using stuff from AI that, one attorney was busted for citing legal precedent that didn't exist.
All right.
So I'm very hesitant on AI. It's a tool. I like to say it's a tool, but you have to check the tool.
Right.
Michael, a question for you. Obviously, you know, you have a very strong structural background. Um, I mean, for you to do now, one thing is you're in San Jose right now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yes, and then you don't mind, obviously, relocating.
No, I don't.
Okay, excellent. Okay,
No, I go where
uh,
the work is. I've been actually down there before. I worked in LA, so I did that for a year and a half, where I commuted down there for 10 days a week and came back 4 days a week to the Bay Area.
okay. So how would you like? Would you like if I mean, if you were to get a position here, would you like move here, or would you like shuttle back and forth?
Well, I want to be sure it's going to be one that's permanent,
Yeah.
obviously, and it
Yes.
has to
Yes.
be, because you don't
Yeah.
want to get it, and then what
Well,
I've seen happen in the past is contracts don't work out. Permanent positions don't work out. Later, I had you hear all these horror stories
yeah.
of people that have been laid off
No,
after 3-4 months.
for sure. Yeah. 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 Well, just to let you know, I mean, so typically our probation period is 1 year. I mean, that's sort of like a city requirement through HR. So once that's over, then of course you're permanent. Like fully employed. I mean, you're still employed previously, but that's the sort of the gestation period. That's the 1 year probation period. So yeah, so just to let you know on that. But I mean, I'm saying post that, let's say everything worked out well. So your intention is would you like move here? Is that
That's
typically
the intent. Yes.
that's the intent? Okay, no, just to yeah be clear. Um, and and yeah, I mean, like in terms of like like I was saying, our plan check review is involves the whole Title 24 sort of gamut of codes. I mean, it's not structural is like a very important part, obviously in California, but you'll have to review mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Now, for very larger, for like I said, for very large projects, um, we typically would send that out, and so, but even though I mean, I'm assuming you would be interested in learning those aspects.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, the electrical, at least to a point where you can, like for example, for electrical, it's like a electrical schematic with, panel schedule with a load calc, that type of stuff. I mean, stuff that can be learned fairly, you don't have to have that super in-depth knowledge.
I
on it.
see. Okay.
Yeah, and then on the mechanical, of course, sizing and the plumbing, like for example, we have riser diagrams and the plumbing piping size, that type of stuff. So you're willing to sort of learn all those things.
Yeah, and
So,
obviously I'm going to need some assistance before I do, get good at
for
it,
sure.
obviously. I
Yeah,
can't just
yeah, yeah.
throw
We're
me
here to
into it
help.
and have it work, because then,
Yeah, we're here to help in terms of that. I mean, we there's classes, of course, we'll help you. That type. I just want to get sort of the flexibility as to because some folks just want to do structural review. Unfortunately, our shop is not set up that way.
yeah, a lot of cities aren't, these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
Are
Like if you go to a larger city like a city of LA or LA County, that type of place, they do have just like a structural section in the building safety, and then they just review structural stuff. And then they'll have an accessibility section, a mechanical section, that type of stuff. We're like a we're like a medium-sized, smaller city, so we're like all in one.
mm-hmm.
So for the medium to smaller size projects, we check everything. So are you comfortable with that in terms of
Yes.
learning the new stuff and that type of stuff? Okay, excellent. Okay. I mean, we check the energy code. We check, now is the green code, all that type of stuff. Okay, excellent. No, I just wanted to kind of make that clear to you. So
Yep.
that's what I was asking. Go ahead, Ali. I mean, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Michael. Also, the basically one of the tasks of senior plant check engineer is also the service at the counter. In addition to you just have some project that you're gonna work on that one. Also, you're gonna be at the counter. How do you feel about that, and how do you what's your experience in that, customer service basically to deal with the customer? Because you know that, people when come, some of them are not really happy when you just as somebody to just trying to tell them that what you do in their building, and they they feel that, hey, we are just basically forcing something on that, when they don't know the aspects of codes basically. So what's your
Well,
experience? What do you feel?
yeah, most of I've been in front of the camera. Actually, been on TV and radio a few times, so I've dealt with the public. So that, I did that actually a couple of years ago, where I was on TV for a building failure, and they had me on 4 times. So I try to keep, let everybody see how they broke the code. Yes, you're gonna have customers that are angry at you, you know. So I would learn take obviously I want to take classes on how to do it, but some of the philosophies of it is make the customer feel like they're important. That's one of the philosophies, and show them where they went wrong, basically. And one of the other things I encourage is sending stuff through email, because now there's a record of it. Because you can't remember everybody you've dealt with. I don't.
Yeah.
I gave up trying a long time ago.
Yeah, Michael, just to echo, piggyback off what Ali said, we are right now we're sort of a mix of paper plans and electronic review. We haven't quite gone to accepting electronic plans. We have on some of our larger projects. For example, our stadium here. I don't know if you're how familiar you're with the city. We have the SoFi Stadium and we have the Clippers Arena here. Are you familiar with that? Or?
I know of them. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
about the SoFi Stadium. There's been a lot about that in the news.
Right,
You
right,
know.
yeah. And the Clippers Arena, which is called Intuit Dome, is getting close to finishing. So sometime later this year. So, but our intent, we're at this point where we are digitizing everything. The city's been a little slow on that, but we're digitizing, scanning, and we are intending, like, by end of this year, early next year, to get all electronic submittals, basically, of plans. Which I'm sure you guys on your, on the private side, everybody's been doing electronic.
A lot of cities don't take paper anymore. But a lot of them, what
A lot of
happened?
cities,
Did you
right.
apply for the pandemic money?
Um, we, I don't know what we've applied for, but
Okay. The
that'd
pandemic
be a good thing.
money under the Biden administration was to get cities to convert to electronic plan review.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And that, I think that's a good thing, because if it's electronic, it can be tracked. Whereas
Yes.
paper, you can lose paper. And there was a story I read last week, ABC 10 did, where the water records were all paper, and they showed a whole building, which is like
Yeah.
massive building with these big filing cabinets, like enormous.
Yeah.
And the stuff problem with paper was the stuff they were using rubber cement and stuff like that to hold the labels, and they were losing
Yeah.
the labels. So they had to play a game of trying to figure out where it is. So they're trying to get them all
Yeah.
scanned, which we have the technology now. Before, massive
Yeah.
scanners weren't around; they weren't readily available.
Yeah.
Now
That's
they're readily
exactly what we're.
available.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, we're scanning all our old plans, permits, everything, and so we're hope. The intent is by next year early we go to pretty much electronic submittals. And what Ali was mentioning is right now at the counter, people do come in and see an engineer at the counter to submit plans. So that's what he was referring to in terms of the counter, so to speak.
Okay, they submit the plans. Okay, you guys don't have permit text, I assume.
No, we do,
Okay.
we do have permit text. It's just that we have a section, and I'll let Ali explain, like, where we do some review over the counter, and I'll go ahead, Ali. You can explain.
Right. I mean, permit takes, they are involved basically for issuance of the permit, and very, very light the patio cover or so on. But generally, our plant check engineers are involved with the, if they come with some really the plans of the say ADU, they just convert the garage, and that one basically some we don't do necessary some the basically plan check over the counter, but some of the light one we do it over the counter, and that's the engineers who are just doing that one. So if somebody comes and has have a question, even during the submittal, they have some engineering question, and that one, then engineers are the one that are answering those questions, because there are more technical, then in, falls actually in the category of permit tech and that one. So that's why at the counter every day we assign an engineer to just be at the counter to just go through this one. And one of the tasks of the senior plant tech engineer, we have also to just have basically counter hours that do that. Depends to that really the needs that it's going to be just a few days in a week or a few hours in the week can be done at the counter. That's a direct actually contact with the public right there at the counter and just coming on that one. And
I have done reviews over the counter. It depends what it is. There are certain circumstances I've allowed it over the counter. I'll give you an example. I had one, they wanted to put a wall in the building to do a retrofit, and they really needed it done. So what I did was, the engineer was smart enough to email it to me ahead of time. My permits tech staff couldn't figure it out, so I was the one that got called because I had more of the expertise, and they felt for the structural expertise, it would be a better response for them because they felt like they couldn't respond to it, adequately. So I reviewed enough so I had it, and then over the counter we did it together. And what happened was they got their permit, pretty much, Right. As long as they come prepared, I don't have a problem. The city of San Francisco does that. A lot of my seismic upgrades, they actually did that, and there were only like 2 or 3 comments they came back with on a lot of them. And I know they were good because the city of San Francisco, one of their staff called me and asked, can we use your retrofits as an example? And usually it's, you have to have permission, but I allowed it because there were so many of them that needed to be done. It was a need, and I wanted the public to see, yes, it can be done. This is a good one. This is what we're doing,
Sure.
That, to me, is good customer service because you're telling them, how to get to the goal, what it looks like. You have to, for a goal, you have to show people what it is, what a good one is. If you tell somebody it's wrong, it doesn't help. I want to know the reason why it's wrong. Because especially in my case, when I worked with the city of San Francisco, they put the stuff in writing. So, and the advantage of that is if you're submitting a lot of plans together, you don't want to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. You want to get through that process as fast as you can. Excuse me.
Michael, you've gone to the at the counter, let's say at the city of San Francisco, and talked with the building folks.
Yes.
What you're mentioning. Okay. Excellent.
I've been on both sides of it, so.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So when you say both sides, I mean you've been on the city side.
I've been not in San Francisco, but I've been the reviewer and in the design professional. I've done both.
Okay, but reviewer where?
Santa Clarita, let's see, Palo Alto, Redmond, Washington, let's see, Denver.
But I mean, when you say reviewer, you work on behalf of the jurisdiction?
Yes. Well, it was a contract.
As a contract, okay, to do the structural review?
Yeah, I did, and some of them I did the non-structural. One of the cities I worked, I did a lot of small single-family homes because the average price of one is $1.5 million, and it's easier to do a retrofit than to build a single-family home because of the way it's zoned.
Okay, got it. Okay.
There's a lot of areas. One of the cities I worked, there's a lot of areas, and they're real strict on it. You can't just tear a house down and build a multiplex. You're stuck with it.
Right.
So you see a lot of these people, and a lot of it's house flipping, which is where they take the old house, they leave a wall up, and then build on top of it, basically.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Go ahead, Ali. Further questions?
So basically, okay. So you had the experience of the plan review, at least in the structural part of that one. On behalf of some jurisdiction, you have done that one. Basically, you have been in the other side of counter as well as both sides of counters.
Yeah, and that's important because it's an eye opener. I believe, this is my philosophy. I don't know if it's your philosophy. This is mine. In order to be a good plan reviewer, you have to I believe you have to actually design stuff, because if you don't, then you can't, in my opinion, you can't help the customer.
Right.
And my philosophy is you learn by doing. That's just me. Some of us learn things differently. I could read stuff out of a book, but on some things I have to learn it to apply it. Basically, I have to use it,
Yeah.
or it doesn't
When was
work.
the last? When was the last time that you did, plan check, even in structural, on behalf of any jurisdiction?
21,
Oh, 2012. So a couple years, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Okay.
But I did some for private companies too, as well. Where some of them, like the federal government, recently I did it with the federal government, and basically I was with the independent within that contract in that company. So, and they require a lot of stuff to be independently verified. There's a whole process they have to go through. The federal government requires it, or they don't get. It's part of their contract.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. You're good? Okay.
Yeah.
No, excellent. Michael, thank you for joining us. I think we've got a good. Do you have any questions for us?
Okay, how long has this position been available for? Because I remember applying for it about a year ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. It was roughly, I think it closed. We didn't get enough candidates. The city requires a certain number of candidates before we go forward. So I think that's kind of what. I think there were some issues with HR also. There was a change of leadership, etc. So we've had a little bit of up and down. I mean, not in terms of up and down in the city, but just in the HR. And I think that's what may have happened. But so I think it sort of delayed us in terms of interviewing.
Okay.
It takes a little time for this.
Yeah, with the city it does.
Governmental process, yeah. But anyway, we're here now, so
Still is open, and
yeah, it's an open position, yeah.
Okay. And my question for you, I have other questions. What's the next step in the interview process? Generally, what happens overall? I know you can't, say, I interviewed ABC, but you can say, this is going to be, there would be a screen, and then there would be a, one interview, and then there'd be an in-person, how does that work?
Right. Well, I mean, this is the interview. I mean, if we like somebody, a lot of times the folks interview like with a panel. To expedite it, we are doing the direct interview initially. Usually our step is the second step.
I see.
Yeah. So once we're good here, then we inform HR, and then HR then goes through their process, informs you, and then we proceed. Yay or nay.
Okay. How long does that process typically take? And I'm not exactly saying, you don't have to, like a month, 2 months, generally.
Yeah, I would say roughly, typically a month.
Okay.
They would. Do you have a certain, are you, in terms of time, are you looking at a particular?
I could be, yeah. I interview in a lot of different places, so I'm trying to keep track of it, because as soon as, something becomes available, it really depends. I have to see everything in the job offer. To me, that's really important. Salary's important, don't get me wrong, but I want to see the other benefits as well. That's important.
Sure. Now, on the benefit side, I mean, you can talk actually to HR directly,
Yep.
and then and they will give you all the medical and the retirement, benefits, all that.
Yep.
Typically, just to let you know, typically a lot of the cities are somewhat similar in their benefit package. They are pluses and minuses, so you want to look at that a little bit critically if you're on the benefit side, that is. Other than the salary, of course. So that's basically the process. Yeah.
Yep. How many people are in the plan review department?
We have currently, there's Ali, there's John. So we've got 3 folks. So Ali is a supervisor. We've got another senior. We've got another associate, and then you'd be the other senior, or would be the 4th position. And we typically like to have at least. I think our intent is to have about have 5 folks, and so we might hire another person.
Yeah, we are looking for a couple people actually to add to our staff.
Yeah.
just come with 5 engineers, and we already have 3 permit techs also.
Yeah, we have 3 permit techs who
Right,
help
at,
for the
permit tech
intake.
also. Just right now we are growing actually because of the lots of jobs that here this again as Mandhir explained. Basically, it's just Clippers arena. It's just almost getting to the basically to the final stages, and we have a Hollywood Parks, a huge projects that it's past 5 years actually, 5 6 years are kept going on and growing basically.
Yeah.
And other number of projects, cities really in terms of expanding in terms of just construction and the buildings. It's just really busy. It's just kept going on.
Yeah, compared to, I mean, like some cities have had a little bit of slowdown, this typical cycle. Generally speaking, here we haven't seen any slowdown, so it seems to continue. And partly, it's due to the stadium and the new, Clippers arena. And, we've got the old Forum here where the Lakers used to play, which is an entertainment venue now. So we're a very busy city in terms of that sort of, we're basically like Sports Central. You can say.
And it's convenient. And don't forget LAX.
Olympic. You can have Olympic.
Yeah, the Olympics.
Here,
the World Cup is going to be taking place at one of our, several games at our stadium.
Super Bowl again.
We had the Super Bowl. Yeah, then again we'll get the Super Bowl, right? So we're going to be busy, and of course, like Ali said, the 2028 Olympics. So yeah, I think the city has really sort of transformed with respect because of the stadium and all this new development. So so there wouldn't be any lack of work if you're looking if you're thinking in those terms.
Yeah, because I've had in the past where projects have been canceled. There was one city a long time ago. They had a major employer was going to expand, and then they canceled the expansion, so they laid off the staff that they hired.
Sure. Yeah.
So I want to be sure that this isn't going to, have the same thing happen. Right now we're seeing this with Apple right now, where they're laying off. They said they weren't laying people off. They laid off people. Announced yesterday. Tesla's another one that announced that they laid off actually yesterday 10% of their workforce. So
that's right.
And they in some places have a dedicated person that deals with, Tesla, for example. Now that person will get laid off.
Yeah.
So I want to.
I mean, in terms of the city, I mean, we're just basically building a core. We just don't have enough folks in house, and of course, we use consultants to offset that, but we really want some good folks in house, for the long term, and that's really where we're at. And so what Ali was saying, that having a minimum of 5 plan reviewers is really. No matter, even if the city is not really growing in that aspect, it's a thing. It's a minimum staff that we need to be able to just function daily. And so that from that aspect, I mean, you can be assured that there's not going to be any like layoffs.
Yep.
And it'll be like I mean, this is sort of it's a permanent city position. It's not a contract. It's not a like a consultant type of position where it's it's a lifetime position basically.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Yep. Do you have any additional questions for me?
No, I think we've we've asked you quite a bit, and I'm sure if something comes up, we can always give you a tinkle. But no, I think I'm good. Are you good, Ali?
I'm good. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. And we have Michael. We've got a few more interviews to go. The position is still open, so I would say in the next maybe few weeks. Yeah, maybe
3 weeks. Yes.
Yeah, about 3 weeks. Yeah. You should have some intimation as to where we're headed towards.
Okay.
In terms of selection. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael, for your time.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for your time,
all right.
Gentlemen.
All right, take care, and we'll hope to talk again.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was the city of Inglewood. And they say they're going to have it in 3 weeks. I'll believe it when I see it, you know?